I'd like to call to order the Madison District Public Schools Regular Board of Education meeting for Monday, April 10th, 2017, and ask that you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Miss Kristen Cole. Roll call, please.
Sure. Ms. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Honer?
Here.
Mr. Kimball?
Here.
Mr. Marr?
Here.
Mr. Morrison?
Here.
Mr. Pittman?
Here.
Ms. Preston?
Here.
Public input is fundamental to the operation of Madison District Public Schools. Our public has an opportunity to speak at every Board of Education meeting. A period of time known as public comment is set aside at each meeting to give parents and other citizens a chance to speak directly to the Board of Education about school-related topics. Anyone who wishes to speak to the board must fill out a request form and give it to the board secretary, Ms. Gallus, Ms. Gonzalez, before the meeting begins. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. School employees will not use this form to discuss job-related topics. The Board of Education accepts comments made during public comment from anyone who follows these guidelines. Public comment is one of the many information sources the board uses before making decisions in the best interest of the children who attend Madison District Public Schools. The board also works with the district staff to address citizens' questions and concerns.
We have one this evening. We have Mayor Brian Hartwell from the City of Madison Heights who would like to update us on some city.
Thank you very much. Mayor Hartwell.
Thanks, everyone. Mr. President, thank you, members of the board. My name is Brian Hartwell. I'm the mayor of Madison Heights. I wanted to come to you just to, first of all, compliment you. I'm very inspired by what direction the school district has taken. I mean, you've built a world-class elementary school with, plans for more building. You're transforming education, adult education, manufacturing, pre-K through 12. You're really making this a desirable community to live in, and you're being recognized that by your peers. Top 10 high school in Oakland County. Remarkable headlines. So as the leader of the city, I'm so blessed to have you guys as partners and friends. We live in the same neighborhoods. It's a small city, and so it's so great to know that you guys are on task working every day to make this a better city to live in, and one of the greatest cities in the state, if not the world, honestly. But there's little opportunity for the city and the school to overlap. But tonight I want to talk about two of those items, and one is somewhat urgent. And I want to thank those of you who attended our town hall meeting last summer to discuss the future of our downtown. A downtown district is designed to generate business and wealth, and that's going to trickle down into our neighborhoods. And the city of Madison Heights has a downtown district, but you wouldn't know it, would you? Our downtown goes on John R. from 10 Mile to Gardenia and 11 Mile from the freeway to the high school. That's downtown Madison Heights. And the city used to make a couple $100,000 a year for that downtown, but it went to things like paving the alley on 11 Mile. Not really doing much to retain and attract new business. And so we had this town hall meeting, and we heard from the public, and they said, look, you got to bring in the right type of businesses. We want retail. Talk about a lack of restaurants, south of Gardenia in Madison Heights. We want to make 11 Mile more walkable, have parks, have park benches, trees, make it a more desirable place for human beings to exist. And probably have fewer auto shops in the future. Not that the current auto businesses are bad, they're some of the great partners. But right now it's an urgent item because the most strategic corner in our city is 11 and John R. And look at the development possibility at the northwest corner, right where Save-A-Lot, the big grass field that goes from 11 Mile towards Brush on 11 Mile. It's been vacant for quite some time, and the city hasn't done much to attract the right kind of development. Well, we have a developer that just threw an application on our desk, and they want to build a gas station with more underground storage tanks, the last thing we need for that corner, not to mention the whole city. And so that request is up for special approval before the city council in 2 weeks from tonight. They need special approval because it's not zoned for gas station, or not zoned, but it's not the right use under the law. So they need a majority of city council to say, yep, you can have special approval to put underground storage tanks in a gas station. Right out the gate, I'm a no vote, but it's going to be a hard debate because a lot of our council members will accept any type of development. It doesn't matter what it is. I think this is the wrong development for this corner, and it's going to be my job to find the right developer next. So please, if you could get the word out that this is up for vote, August 24th at 7:30 p.m. Madison Heights City Hall. April 24th, thank you.
At what time, Mayor?
7:30 p.m. and it'll be within the first 10 minutes of the meeting. Another item that I just discovered this. You guys get sick of hearing, things are never going to change, but you men and women are making things change in this city, and so that's been my mission. Our careers will be defined by the actual action we took, not just the debates we have. And so one of the things I've been most concerned about is public safety and code enforcement and kind of how those overlap in the neighborhoods. And the first thing I was able to do was to expand undercover operations. So not that any of you noticed, but we cleaned up all the drug houses in Madison Heights. We cleaned up a lot of the prostitution in our hotels and our motels. And that took action. That took someone to say, you know what, we need this in our neighborhoods. And I know you guys go door to door, to meet neighbors. And that's one of the things I hear all the time. Brian, can you clean up that house? And a lot of times it's either a den of criminal activity or maybe it's an unlicensed landlord. And that's my next project. So I asked the city for a report of, give me a list of all the licensed landlords and a list of who we think are unlicensed landlords. And during the recession, you could have counted on one or two hands how many landlords we have. After the recession, we have about 2,000 rental homes in the city. And it's one of the biggest strains on our code enforcement. And you can think of the typical slumlord, I hate to use that word, but an absentee landlord who just doesn't care about the community, just bottom line to make money. And if a gutter falls or a shutter falls, they don't care. They never plant flowers, never care about the yard, the neighborhood. That's going to stop. And I'm going to first focus on unlicensed landlords because the unlicensed landlords are the ones who care the least. They didn't care enough to ask the city for permission. And also, this is where you guys come in. Unlicensed landlords never told any of us that they're not a homestead anymore. And from what I understand, non-homestead pays a lot more in taxes than homestead. And so preliminarily, we have found about 900 houses in the city that should be non-homestead. And so that, if we could go after these unlicensed, unregulated landlords, first of all, the primary objective just to clean up the neighborhoods, great. But the secondary benefit will be maybe a boon in taxes. Doing nothing but just, looking at the paperwork to see where these bad actors are. So those are the two things I'm working on right now, urgently. And I could talk another 30 minutes, but I've been told not to. But I'll leave some handouts just to give you a taste of what we've been working on in the city and how I'm listening to you and some of your neighbors and my neighbors on what we can actually do to make a difference. So I left you a copy of my State of the City address, which some of you attended, and I was very pleased to honor the Madison Public District Schools for all you're doing with manufacturing and being recognized. So I'll leave a copy of that for you. I'm leaving a copy of our city goals for our budgetary goals for 2017 and 18, and these are some of the big ticket things. So you can tell some of your employees and your students that if there's a 911 emergency, it doesn't just have to be a phone call. You can send a text or send a video. Because sometimes there may not be a situation where you can say, "Hi, come save me," but you can text that message. We're gonna implement that very soon, and so I'll leave a list of all those goals. But something that probably from this group I've heard the most is, we got to do more for families in the south end of the city. So I think the DDA, the downtown district, is the vehicle to make a difference down here. And so one of the first things I'm going to do is host an open house at the fire hall. When was the last time that happened? All the open houses have been at the North End Station, where someone told me, "Hey, Brian, I don't even think they run ambulances out of the South End Station." I'm like, "Oh, come on." So I'm going to kick open the doors to the South End Fire Hall. We're going to have a nice public event there. That's going to be hosted by the DDA. But the DDA is going to do other things. We're going to physically change the DDA. We're going to start to improve the walkability. We're going to put signage around the district, pointing to the key features, where the school is, where the businesses are, the restaurants are. And we're going to have other events throughout the year. We're going to have, what do you call it, food market. What do you call those things? Farmers market. We're going to have a farmers market. And we're going to do other events throughout the year where I'm hoping the school will be a good partner. So I'll just leave those. Those are the fun things that we can work on later. But so urgently, in 2 weeks from tonight, I'd like some public comment on the pros or cons of having another gas station in the city. Who knows, maybe I'll be persuaded it's the right thing to do, but I'm skeptical of it. And then tune in for more on us going after those unlicensed landlords and getting those homesteads turned to non-homesteads. But if you have any questions for me, Mr. President, or the board, I'll take them now. But I do have I have a city council meeting. They're waiting for me right now as we speak. So, but this was so important that I spoke to you face to face that I thought I would be here.
Well, we appreciate you coming down, and we humbly appreciate everything you said about the Madison School District, and we appreciate you coming here to update us. In the 7 years I've been on this board, it's the first time I've seen someone down there.
Well, it's families
So we really
first.
appreciate it.
I heard that from your superintendent, from you and your principal. It's families first.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, what does that mean? It's not just about bottom line and budgets and no, it's families, it's people, it's neighborhoods, and
True story.
I'm
So,
inspired by you. So keep it up, guys.
On behalf of the board, I want to thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
on behalf of all.
Thank you for
In
the
my
recognition.
Thank you. My office is an open door policy. Don't be intimidated by Mayor Hartwell. You know, if you want to spitball ideas with me, just spitball ideas with me. We can work together, and I'll take your half-baked ideas, and we'll figure something out. All right.
Well, we appreciate that too.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good night. Thank you.
And so, no more public comment? No. We'll move into the best part of the meeting, and that's the presentation of the Student of the Month. So, Mr. Speck, Mr. Pittman will stand in for me. I appreciate that.
I think we do a nice job of serving families, and I think that's one of the things that I'm most proud about. And you know, at these meetings every month, we honor our students and really the families that they come from. So we're going to start first with Madison High School. Mr. Hernovich, come on up. Really a special presentation.
Wanted to kind of recognize one of our departments here in the district. A lot of times we recognize our athletic department, or certainly Mancy tonight. Lots of other departments get recognized. But this year, our Fine Arts Department put on a Fine Arts Festival about a month ago, and we at the high school are still fielding compliments as a result of that festival. From the art that was displayed in the cafeteria, to the dance, to the music, to everything. Lots of families came out. Wonderful experience for everybody. That festival has not always been as good as it was, but I'll tell you, it was a great festival. And it was put on by teachers here in the district, and I wanted to recognize some of them. Some of them are here, some of them are not, but I just want to read their names. They put on an excellent festival, and they should be recognized as such. Miss Lipstadt from Madison Elementary School, Miss Soroka from Wilkinson Middle School, Miss Ventura from Madison High School, Miss Jarrett from Madison High School, Miss Dixon from the elementary school, and Miss Current from Prep High School. We brought some art to show you tonight from some of our students that were chosen as the Students of the Month. But I realized something when I put this together. And I looked at the art, and I've listened to the music. And I thought to myself, what you see up here and what you're going to hear played here tonight does not have a lot to do with fine art. It does not have a lot to do with festivals. It does not have a lot to do with good grades. It does not have a lot to do with the recognition. I'll tell you what it has to do with, and this comes from a person that is not considered any type of artist. I don't play an instrument, and I've never painted anything besides bathrooms. What it does represent is this. It represents courage. There's a young lady that's going to come up here tonight that's going to play an instrument. I've never played an instrument in an open forum. I've never played an instrument for a crowd. A young lady is going to come up with her single instrument and play a song for you. I want you to think for a second what courage it takes to do that. Last month, We had a couple big football players come up here that were recognized, and they should be. We have students that do well on tests and have great grades. They should be recognized for that, and they're recognized for that when they graduate. But as you hear her play tonight, I want you to think about the courage that it takes to be able to do that. Two young ladies, twins, that were not born in this country, will come up here and display their art. They'll talk about what went into producing that art. They painted this art together, twins. I want you to think about, as we go through this recognition of these students at the high school, it's not the art, it's not the accolades, it's not the academics, it's the courage to be able to take one's creation and present it in a public forum. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first teacher that will introduce our student. And that teacher's name is Miss Vancura. Miss Vancura, would you come up, please?
Can I please have Caitlin Hester come up? I have known Caitlin for a very short time this year, but I've enjoyed getting to know her very, very much. She seems to have passion in everything she does. She's a pleasure to have in the classroom every day. Everything she does wholeheartedly, and I'm very, very impressed with the young lady that stands next to me. So I'd like to present her with the student loan. Caitlin is now going to play a short rendition of Green Sleeves.
Remind you that when we are talking about the art program at Madison High School, it has less to do with the clarinet than it has to do with the courage that it takes to come up here and play that song as a solo. Can we give her a second round of applause? I'd like to have Miss Jarrett come up to present another Student of the Month. I have two young ladies that presented some art at our Fine Arts Festival. They painted a few of these pictures together. Again, I told you earlier, I've done some painting. I'd be embarrassed for any of you to see it. It was with one color. It was simply painting corners that did not come out straight. There is no way that I could produce art like this. However, we have students at the high school that can. Again, it has less to do with the beauty of the song, with the beauty of the artwork, and more to do with the courage that it takes to present it publicly. Ms. Jarrett.
Hello everyone, I'm Miss Jarrett, the art teacher at the high school. Rana and Rima would like to come up. They are the lovely artists that created the two portraits, Rana and Rima, and then together they painted this canvas for our high school cafeteria.
So, as you can see, this painting, there's two people that are walking through this colorful pathway. It inspired us to bring this picture because the spring is approaching. So, towards the middle of painting this picture, we almost gave up on it because it was hard to paint. But I want to thank my parents and my teacher for always encouraging me, and they are the reason why we are on this level.
Excellent. Good job.
Move back over here. All right, let's do Wilkinson. Mr. Abdullah.
Over there.
You know, looking at all three of these young ladies, I was their teacher, and it gives me hope because
You don't get any credit.
no, I was taking credit, but it gives me hope because you know, at middle school we don't see the end product of what the kids are becoming, and I got the pleasure of serving middle school kids, and we're seeing them transition and seeing them grow. It's amazing, so it gives me hope. So I have Miss Nolan here, who's going to present two future rising stars for us.
Good evening. We're here to celebrate all the students and staff. I wish I could speak as fluently as Mr. Pernovich does. He's so right in this because we're out of our comfort zone. In our classrooms, it's good. Here, it helps us be humble and appreciate where all of our students are when it comes to public presentations. So tonight we're going to be celebrating a couple of students from the middle school. The first one is Zachary DeSicchio.
Come on up.
It is with high recognition that we celebrate the academic performance and achievements of Zachary DeSicchio. He shows ownership of daily learning activities by thinking and asking thick questions, by working collaboratively with his peers, and by insisting on challenging his prior knowledge in academic strategies and by building and expanding his schema. Zachary has researched self-selected topics such as tornadoes and the skeletal system, and composed reports that show problems and solutions and cause and effect. He has participated in debates and persuasive writing by voicing his opinions based on research and data. He jumps enthusiastically into the learning mode, full speed ahead, no braking, and so Zachary, we celebrate your success. Our next recognition for the evening will be Kanesha Price. It is with deep consideration and high regard that we recognize the academic performance and achievements of Kanesha Price. Kanesha's unique student qualities include her continual quest of seeking and creating critical reasoning skills and creative interpretation and reflection. Kanesha's thinking can sometimes be compared to a magnifying glass. She focuses on details and significant facts, always examining and exploring ideas and concepts while continually expanding her depth of inquiry. Furthermore, she's a team player that actively engages in cooperative and collaborative work with peers, supporting her peers' input and providing significant content output on curriculum-based projects and partnership activities with a twist or turn of perspective. Middle school curriculum is fun, functional, and rigorous, and Kanesha has begun running the basis for a home-run future. Congratulations, Kiki.
Hold on one more.
Madison Prep. Let's pick them up.
Good evening. It's always a pleasure to present our Students of the Month. I speak for our whole staff when I share with you the wonderful attributes of our two chosen students. I'll start with our female Student of the Month, and her name is Leslie Bass, if she would come on up. I love her name because it's mine also. Besides that, I should also share with you that as of Friday, not last Friday because that was spring break, but the Friday before, Leslie is a graduate and completed all the necessary requirements for graduation. So she graduated. So it's nice that she came this evening because she's not in school right now. She's enjoying some freedoms before we begin our festivities for graduation in a month or two. So I'll share with you what the staff said about Leslie. Leslie joined us this year and has been a wonderful addition to Madison Prep. She is a very mature and respectful young lady that we know will do great things in the future. Her English teacher says that Leslie goes about completing her work in a quiet and thoughtful manner each day. She always pours her soul into her writing and writes from a place of honesty and creativity. It is always a pleasure to read her work. Mr. Mitchell says that Leslie does all of her work each day and does it with a smile on her face. Her science teacher says that Leslie is a mature and interesting young lady. She loves science and she wishes she could have had you longer in class. Her computer teacher says that Leslie is an absolute pleasure to have in class. She is courteous, fun-loving, and very serious about getting her work done and doing it well. Her math teacher says that Leslie is an excellent student who works hard each day. Leslie's art teacher speaks of what a talented artist she is and how she is capable of doing many types of art. The entire staff at Prep agrees that Leslie should have no problems in her academic endeavors if she decides, whatever she decides to attempt following graduation, and that she has a very bright future in front of her. Congratulations, Leslie. Did you bring anyone? Come on up, you guys.
know you're work.
And
That was good.
Yeah.
And now I'd like to introduce our male student of the month, Andrew Henderson. Come on up, come on. Horrible, isn't it? Are you gonna make it? Andrew enrolled with us in September of the school year and was a bit apprehensive and very quiet. He has been such a pleasure. It has been such a pleasure watching him blossom and grow and become such an important part of Madison Prep. Andrew's LRC teacher speaks of how he has made so many changes this year as he has learned what works for him and where he shines. He has made so much progress in class. He found that he can step out of a box and try new things and get success. He is a member of our video game club. He competed and was on the Quiz Bowl team for Madison Prep, along with representing Madison Prep on the Madison District Robotics team. Andrew also takes time out of his day to extend himself by helping a younger student with special needs. He is patient and consistent with her, and the two of them have developed a very special friendship. Andrew's English teacher says that Andrew has an amazing sense of humor and is always willing to hold an interesting and intelligent conversation. When he connects with a lesson, he gives 110%. His social studies teacher says that Andrew is very bright. He represents Madison Prep on the Madison District Robotics team and the Quiz Bowl team, and he is very proud of that for you. He does original work, and he is a joy to have in the classroom. His science teacher says that Andrew is a brilliant young man. He loves to be challenged, and he loves to help others. He finished this quarter with an A in chemistry, and he makes it look easy. Congratulations, Andrew, for being selected as Male Student of the Month. Wow. We really have a crying mom. Yeah, we really do. She's an amazing mom as well. Okay, just, this is it. This is almost over.
Almost. Cooperate.
Wait, one more. Without a pen.
Madison Elementary, fifth grade team, come on up, guys.
So I just wanted to explain a little bit about our fifth grade program at Madison Elementary. We are trying to better the transition from elementary school to middle school, and so halfway through the year, we switch up the classes. So I had our two student of the months in my class in the beginning of the year, and then we split everybody up, and now they are in, well, one's in Mr. Tran's class and one's in Miss Nezick's class. And we awarded them Student of the Month just because in the beginning of the year they were both kind of shy and they kept to themselves and with like the same group of people. But it wasn't until they switched, we switched up who they were with and the different rotations that they're experiencing now that they just blossomed. And so we're going to ask them to come up just one at a time, and their current homeroom teacher is going to kind of explain a little more about why they are Student of the Month. So we'll have Wassam, who can come up first.
So Wassam was, like Stefan said, she was very shy at the beginning of the year, very quiet, and to me that just, I like to joke around, so I would mess with him a lot. And he didn't know how to take my sarcasm at first, other than just a blank, are you serious? But he always did his work, he always has a smile on his face, he's always willing to work with other people or by himself. And now, with my sarcasm, he actually takes it too literally. Like when he asks me what do I do with my test, I say go throw it away. I have to actually stop him as he's walking to the garbage. So he's just fun to have in class. And I wish more kids were like him.
Okay, so our other fifth grade student of the month is Alana. Come on up, Alana. I know that I speak for all three of us when I say how proud we are of her. She has turned into such a leader everywhere she goes. I mean, she's a quiet leader, but she is absolutely always doing what she's supposed to be doing. She's so humble too, so she doesn't even want to smile. But she is just always doing what she's supposed to be doing. I can count on her for absolutely anything to be done promptly and correctly, and she's just been such a pleasure to watch blossom into this beautiful young lady. So we're very, very proud of her.
Thank you.
All right. We'll continue on with some stuff. Mr. Gilbertson, you want to start to get the computer set up? I've got a few things just from the standpoint of just some things going on throughout the district. But I do think Mr. Hernovitz said this earlier, and several of the teachers echoed this, that you get to honor the students, you're honoring their families, you're honoring the courage that comes for being able to step out. Sometimes it takes courage just to do the right thing. Sometimes it takes courage just to put yourself in a position to be the student of the month. So I'm proud of this group. So a couple things we've got going on. Couple things we've got going on. Tomorrow in the state of Michigan starts the M-STEP. M-STEP was instituted, I think this is the third year for this version of the state assessment, formerly known as the MEET, now it's the M-STEP. So at the elementary school, 5th grade starts tomorrow. I think at the middle school it's 8. The high school will start soon. SAT is over at the high school tomorrow as well. So a lot of things going on. It's a big, even though we look at these state assessments as, sometimes we look at them as a burden, sometimes we look at them as, oh, I wish we didn't have to do all this stuff, a lot of testing for kids. It's also a snapshot of where the child is. It's also, we can use it as a district because it's a snapshot of how well we are aligning our curriculum with the standards that are being assessed. And so that part becomes important as well. Later this week, I'm going to be meeting with representatives from the United Way. The last, I think, 2 or 3 summers, kickoff of summer, we've done a block party with the United Way. It's been hugely successful over at the elementary school, the Rosie's Park area. They contacted me toward the end of last week, want to use our facilities with all the block parties that they do. I think they do 10 to 12 throughout the summer. They rave about our facilities, rave about the cleanliness that we have at our school and at our facilities. So we're glad to have them come back. We'll get that out to the community once we have a day and time for that. Carnival's coming up April 27th through the 30th over at Madison High School, the parking lot, where last year we had really out of a 4-day carnival, the first 2 days were cold and rainy a little bit, and Friday and Saturdays when we just had perfect weather. We're a weekend later this year, a weekend closer really to summer. So it was the last weekend in April, and we've got signs out, we've got things posted. Really for the next 2 or 3 weeks, people can go to SkirbeckEntertainment.com. They can purchase their kind of a wristband, do it cheaper if you do it ahead of time. And we had just a huge turnout last year. It was great. We have bands that are going to be playing on Friday and Saturday night. It's just going to be a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun last year. It will be a lot of fun this year. It's something we're going to start over at the elementary school this summer. And we're still working on the details, and probably in May we'll share these details with you. But we're going to start a summer reading program that will be somewhat, we can connect it really to our summer food program that we have when we have breakfast and lunch and things like that. But what we want to do is, in many ways, allocate some of the proceeds that we use from the carnival, as well as a grant that we received from the state of Michigan Early Literacy Program of about $10,000 to purchase books. And we want to get books into the hands of kids. We want to get books into the hands of families over the summertime. And so it'll be one of those things where we want them to take a bag of books home on a Tuesday, and we'd love them to bring those books back on Tuesday, the following Tuesday, and get another bag of books, and just rotate those through for the summer. So really excited about launching something like that, and think that's going to be really nice engagement. Our parents are asking for it, they want it, and we're glad to provide that for them. Just a minute, I'm going to bring Mr. Gilbertson up, and we're going to talk a little bit about MAMC, kind of give you an update as to where we are, talk a little bit about the purpose of this. That's kind of what I'm going to talk about, and then Mr. Gilbertson will come up and talk a little bit more about the specifics. About 3 years ago, Mr. Gilbertson and I were talking to some representatives out of Fanuc America, Fanuc Robotics, largest manufacturer of robots in the country, in the world. Talking about the idea of bringing industrial robotics and that certification into Madison High School and what that could possibly do to our students. Give them opportunities for certification, opportunities for entry-level jobs, opportunities to have that first layer of certification and then grow that into a career early on. And so we did that early on, had some success with some of our kids having certifications in that program. Here in Oakland County, we benefit from what the Intermediate School District, Oakland Schools, offers us, as well as their technical campuses. They have technical campuses in different parts of the county. They offer different things, vocational training, culinary arts, different types of programs. However, in both construction, advanced manufacturing, and really in all other programs, you have a limited amount of students. And so if we were wanting to have students involved in an advanced manufacturing program over at one of the technical campuses, we'd have a limited spot, probably less than a handful of opportunities for our kids. So we wanted to see how could we expand the program that we were already offering for our high school students with just one class. How could we grow that? How could we grow that? So we looked at a model, as you know, Ramtech model out of Ohio. Started to grow that. Look at that model. Started to grow our own program. We've invested $300,000 this year into renovating part of our facility, bringing in equipment, doing it from a lean strategy model. Love to spend a lot more, but we've done it at a really smart and strategic, fiscally responsible way that's benefiting our own students, and then it has the opportunity to benefit adult workforce training. Mr. Gilbertson's going to talk a little bit more about that, but later this week, and I think he'll mention this as well, we've got all of our high school students from prep coming into MAMC to take a look at it as they start to get their schedule ready for next year. It's important that we use the facilities that we have to be able to reach out into our community and literally reach into somebody's lives, but it's really more important that we're doing it for our own students. And so MAMC, the Michigan Advanced Manufacturing Collaboration, has the opportunity to do both. Our students are going to benefit from the high school, from prep, here at the middle school, since in the same building. And then what you're going to see next month at this very board meeting, you're going to see our robotics team from the high school, which after 4 years has already won a district championship in robotics. You're going to see a robotics program from the elementary school that's going to be over here. They'll demonstrate their robots for you, and you'll see all of that. But I think even more important than that, you're going to see young kids, especially elementary age kids, start to look up to the high school kids and go, I can do that. And that's how these programs line all the way through. They link all the way through. They're connected all the way through. We come up with ideas, we come up with programs that connect what we're doing academically and curriculum-wise to what is needed out in the real world. And so with that, Mr. Gilbertson, why don't you come up and take our folks through where we're at currently.
Thank you, Mr. Speck, and thank you, members of the school board. Those of you here still, welcome you to this presentation. I guess I'd like to first start by saying in 2012, when I was fortunate to be hired to serve as high school principal here in Madison, my truth is we had a lot of improving to do. And the fact is, you as the school board gave myself and with the superintendent all the support we needed to really, help improve our high school. And I'm quite humbled by what our mayor said this evening, because truly that was a very awesome message that he sent to us about the change that has positively impacted this community based on your support and the leadership of Mr. Speck. But I'll go even further, and I'll thank Mr. Hernovich, Mr. Harwood, all the great teachers at the high school that have worked so hard to make these positive improvements for our school and community. I'm humbled by the work they've done. Truthfully, as a high school principal for 9 years and 3 here, one of the pieces that really has impacted me in my career is how do I make a difference with kids? How do I truly prepare them for a career, or if they're going to college, how do I get them ready to be successful at that level? And when we met in 2013, I believe it was, with the FANUC representative that talked to us about FANUC robotics. I didn't even know what FANUC was. I wasn't sure what it is. And my recent trip to Florida, as I visited my previous locations where I served as a high school principal, they don't even now know what FANUC robotics is, which is amazing. So we talked about FANUC robotics and what it is. And what I learned and what we did and what you supported is bring forward a career opportunity that can be life-changing for students. So this little graph, and you'll see it in the presentation, talks about robotics and advanced automation. And to get right to it, and I'll show this to you in a little more detail in a moment, 3.4 million manufacturing jobs will be available in the next 10 years, with only 1.4 million qualified employees to fill these jobs. That's what inspired us to say this is the pathway we need to go down. And when I came to you a year ago and we had this presentation, and I'm sure you felt my energy and enthusiasm, because I do believe in this. I believe this makes a difference in the lives of people that are looking for good careers. But we didn't have anything. Everything was on paper. All I was hearing from every company I went to was the same thing. Where have you been for 30 years? Why hasn't education made this connection? Well, we're doing it now, and we're just getting started, obviously, but we are doing it. One of the greatest challenges that I can honestly say might be getting this to work, here we go, is, yes, there's been a financial but lean commitment to convert our facility over. But if you don't have people to teach, you're done. And I can honestly say I am very honored to have 2 highly qualified instructors sitting right here with me today, and I'd like to introduce them to you, starting with Cleveland Sparrow and Keith Johnson. They're going to speak to you a little bit about what their role is in MAMC, but when we got this started, as the board knows, and to the new members that you weren't here for this part, we were told, okay, you can convert the facility, you can paint the walls, you can come up with funding to provide the equipment, but where do you find the people to teach it? Because when you go down Stevenson Highway or Groesbeck Highway or wherever these industrial companies are located, machinists, CNC machinists wanted. People can't fill these jobs. So think about how you're going to find instructors. Well, we're blessed to have 2 great educators with the experiences they bring to the table, and they'll speak to that a little bit when their time comes up. So Greg, you're here. I know you're here. Greg has been not only an outstanding addition to this district, in my opinion, in regards to the amount of service he provides to help promote this district in a positive light, but just today we met with a representative from American Axle. And as you all know about American Axle, big company, and we are working on the next steps of connecting with their human resource department to make some partnerships potentially with them. And that's just one. Greg has brought many other great opportunities for us to build on. So Danny Folks wasn't asked to be here tonight, but I can't we can't jump over Danny, because the reality is Danny is teaching the FANUC certification level 1 right now at the high school. And to his credit and to the administrator's credit, they said, hey, we got this superstar teacher, and I think he's going to do a great job teaching it. Not only did he take on that FANUC robotics class, but he also took on the U.S. First Robotics team, and now we've got plenty of support to help with their success. So Danny's done a great job, and to the district, to the board, to Mr. Speck's credit, we're training additional folks to be able to teach this FANUC certification program. Now, I put the mission here. I would say this is more of a draft, but one of the pieces that we have been able to leverage is Michigan Works has identified us as an approved training center, which is a big deal. And what they want is, they want succinct, condensed training. They don't want, like, you go to the college, which colleges are great, not going to say they're not, because they are, but from January 12th to May 30th, you're going to class, and that's all good. Not saying it isn't good. Our case is, we'll hit the same number of hours, but we're going to customize it, and we're going to try to do it shorter, but if we've got to go that long, we will. And I'll get into that in a moment. So back to that graph, and I already hit the high points on it. Not only this graph from the Bureau of Statistics, their information, but also from news reports across the globe, across our area, I should say. The facts pretty well stand for themselves, and that is, where is the qualified workforce? We've been focusing so much on higher level college courses, which is great, but we forgot about our careers. And as you can see, based on this graphic alone, FANUC is the dominant player in both CNC and in robotics across, not only Michigan, but really across the country. So those yellow dots represent every industry that has a CNC piece of equipment in just the state of Michigan. And of course the robot is the darker one. So very dominant in regards to this type of training, if you will, that we're providing to adults and to our students. Okay, I circled the third one down. As you can see, this is talking about STEM. STEM education, as we all know, is so important in a foundation that's critical to high-paying careers for people. The higher level of STEM training you have, the more money you're going to make. But I circled that third one because, as again, I'm learning, the STEM technologist is not someone that has even a 2-year degree. That's someone that might have some limited training and is in a position to be qualified for $49,930 per year. Obviously, the more training you get, the higher your income becomes. We really picked this one up. There's another school district in Hudson, Michigan, and quite frankly, they're a couple of years ahead of us. We met with them, Mr. Speck, myself, our instructors, and I'm just going to say it, so let the record be true to this statement. I got a long way to go to meet my equivalent over there. Now, he was an ex-engineer. He was tied very closely with a lot of industry, and he's doing very well over there. But they have a jump start on us, a couple-year jump start on us. And I'll get into this a little bit later, but their costs for their programs are a lot more than ours. And that's why they came to us to see what we're doing and how we're approaching it. We're very similar in our models. But he talked about 40-20-0. Well, you can make $40,000 roughly by the age of 20 and have zero debt. And that's not a bad option if you decide you don't want to go to college. And as I added those bullets to the right, now hiring careers in CNC and robotics with tier 1, 2, and 3 suppliers and job shops. And again, we are an approved Michigan Works training center. As we move forward in this program, more of our students are going to have the ability for apprenticeships. That is starting to unfold. So what is FANUC LR MATE certification? That's what this slide's all about. Essentially, it's the lowest level of a certification that you can earn from FANUC. And by the way, if you went to FANUC and got this training, you would pay about $3,000 for it, and you'd be on a waiting list to get in there. So it's not cheap. But we are advertising, and we haven't actually, back up, we plan to promote this course for our adults later. Right now, our high school students are getting it, and obviously they're not paying $1. but they're getting a great opportunity to become certified in a very high demanding career field. You can see some of the details that I've written there. So part of my learning is, okay, level 1 certification. All right, so now you've got a great opportunity to get a job in FANUC. That's true. However, the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say, even better if you got a level 2. Meaning now you're separating yourself from some of the other individuals that maybe have an edge on you. So we plan to bring forward a IR Vision, which is a level 2 certification, and that absolutely will separate us from other school districts that are starting to teach FANUC, and any adults that are also working in that field right now. So level 2 is going to be a big deal for us. Level 3 is the ultimate. Level 3 essentially means that that robot and that CNC machine work in conjunction with one another. They're communicating with one another. That is the highest level, and in fact, FANUC doesn't even call it a certification just yet, but they absolutely call it integrated automation, and that is prevalent in the industry as we speak. So we are moving in that direction. Basically, I don't know if you want to see the video or not, but moving forward with it. Okay. So at this point, I would just like to introduce you to you again, Cleveland Squirrel and Keith Johnson. They're going to talk a little bit about CNC, what it is, and how some of their background that you bring to the table. And you want to go.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you and let you know what we're doing over here at MAMC. Basically, CNC, the way I describe it and introduce it to the kids is very simplistically. All of them have had Xbox 360s in their hands or PlayStation 4s. And they've all used those controllers where they're up there playing the games. I asked them, I say, well, basically, have you ever thought about how those things are made? And then, so I back it in as to the shape of the controllers. Those have to be designed in some type of CAD system, computer-aided design system on a computer. And then following that, after it's been designed, then somebody has to put it, has to create a mold, because those things are basically plastic. Okay, so it has to go into some type of plastic injection molding process. I don't really talk a whole lot about it other than to say that that process exists. But everything, or a lot of stuff, has to really go through CNC. Just about everything that you touch has touched CNC in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So you take out the part after it's been made by plastic injection molding, and you have the mold. Well, how do you get the mold? CNC. The item that you've been given, we just put that together real quickly, but it sort of gives a quick synopsis of what the process of CNC is all about, and the suite of courses that we offer here at MAMC. Basically, we're talking about, on one side you have the Eagle, and that Eagle was designed basically in a CAD program, and then spit out on the other side with a CAM system. And then on the back side you have your name and the MAMC that's been engraved in that. That encompasses a suite of concepts that includes everything from somebody who's new to machining, that would be inclusive of our Intro to Machining course, which basically covers 5 or 6 main primary areas. What they call shop math, and all of the detail that goes into how do you take a fraction and convert it into a decimal and then put it into a computer, right? And then secondly, the precision instruments that you have to use to measure these various parts, calipers and micrometers. Thirdly, to be able to talk about, if you're given an engineering drawing, we call them blueprints, how do you take that blueprint and interpret it, pull out the relevant information so that then you can take that drawing, interpret it, and put it into a program using G and M codes on the back end, and then put it into a computer. Then we talk about safety, and the introduction to machines, both turning machines, milling machines, and then it's a natural segue into our CNC, the FANUC certification part. One is for the turning, one is for the mill, and we go through a conceptual presentation of the ideas so that even though FANUC is what we call an 800-pound gorilla in the industry, there are a whole lot of other players that are out there, Siemens and just a whole litany of them. But they all basically have to do the same thing. You have to take the computer part, interface it into the machine part, tell the computer what you want the machine to do in order to cut the part. And so I come from a background of programming and some CNC over the last 15, 20 years, and I've been doing programming of various sorts for a long, long time. So, and then I've been working with engineering firms and various types of design and helping both on the engineering and architectural side as well as on the part production side. So we thank you so much for the opportunity. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. At this time, I want to give Keith the opportunity to speak to you and just give an overview as well.
My name is Keith Johnson. I've got over 30 years in the manufacturing industry. One thing that Cleveland kind of glossed over, the eagles that we gave to you guys, the eagle itself was machined on our small LaVille. We had to set up 3 tools on that? Yeah, there's a 3-tool setup. Yep. Then we basically took it off and we put it onto our Tormach, flipped it over, did another setup, and that's where we did the engraving. He kind of made it sound easy as far as the CAD CAM portion of it. We make it look easy. That's the fun part. Again, my background in this industry is in manufacturing. I started in this industry when I was about 16, working for a family business. And that would have been 1982. One of the things I've noticed in the past 30 years has been the elimination of apprenticeships inside of businesses. As a cost cutting, they have to become more competitive. In Michigan, they've been relying on our workforce taking. You know, Michigan's been shrinking, so they've had this readily available workforce that they could take from. That's no longer there. I myself, when I was 18, went through a 3-month apprenticeship program. I worked in a machine shop and I did everything. One week I was running a lathe, next week I was running a mill. They had me running the saw, I even swept the floor. But I got a ground up basic idea of what, excuse me, what was an industry. The thing that I like about this program is we are basically giving them the apprenticeship portion of it. We're giving them a basic skill that they can go out into the industry and then they can get a job and they can get a good paying job. Manufacturing in Michigan isn't like it was 20 years ago. Everybody viewed manufacturing as, oh, a dirty machine shop. You know, it's oil on the floor, there's mist in the air, you can't breathe. It's no longer like that. Manufacturing now is you walk on the floors, there's no oil, it's clean. Companies are spending thousands of dollars to just make the air clean inside their shop. They need to do this to attract people. And that's part of the portion that we bring. We'll bring that skill so they can get that entry-level job, and then from there, we'll get more training. We have our basic lathe programming, mill programming, and our basic machining. We're integrating into maintenance, advanced maintenance, where we're going to be teaching people how to integrate, take that robot, take that CNC, we will have the two connect to each other, and then they will be able to program both of them. That's part of our advanced manufacturing. Because like it or not, one of the things with competitive with overseas is labor is expensive. A lot of people go, oh, robots are going to take a job. Not really, because that one robot now has to have somebody who can program it, somebody who can maintain it, and somebody who can repair it. So that's my spiel. Any questions?
Any questions, board, for either one?
Yeah, I'd like to ask a couple questions or two. It's been probably more Mr. Gilbertson, not as detailed into what the courses offer, but for someone who's sitting at home in this area that maybe hasn't been as informed as us on the board are about this, is this whole program, is it a job creator?
Is it a job creator?
Are people will students come out of here and get jobs? Are they
Oh,
capable
absolutely.
of getting jobs?
Oh, I didn't, yeah, without question. There's a lot of truths that I'm learning, and as you know, you guys know me pretty well, my background's been in education, not as a machinist. These are the guys that are the experts and machinists. That's not my expertise. I'm learning a lot. But what I can absolutely confirm, and I'll just show you this real quick, this graphic to answer your question. These companies right here, these are real companies, and actually, except for one who's in Auburn Hills, they're all, one in Utica, they're all local. These are just a couple. But these are companies that are waiting for us to produce people so they can go to work right away.
With 40-hour certificates.
Well, my truth is, if they can do math and not know anything about any of this, let's say they don't even know anything about machining at all, but they can show up on time, they can do basic Algebra 1 math and geometry even better, they can start at an entry-level job right now. But what's even better about what this program is doing is it's helping them to understand how to use a micrometer, how to read a blueprint, how to produce the parts. I should have brought to you the FANUC certification, because as we know, if you earn a FANUC certification, a nationally industry recognized certification, you are very employable, and you will get a higher rate of pay entering into these jobs. So absolutely, there are jobs waiting right now, and what we have to, our challenge is find the people that really want to do the work. Because my reality is this is a great career opportunity. There's no question. Those statistics are real, but you have to want to do the work, and the jobs are absolutely there. Yes.
Can I interject real
Sure.
quick? The reason why these certifications, in my opinion, are so valuable are because if you look at these are just for the milling section. These are 4 parts that each of the students have to produce. For the turning section, these are 2 of the 3 parts that they have to produce. Those parts are produced, you have to go through the entire programming process, thinking process, in order to do the fundamental motion movements and the fundamental programming activity that will require you to do that. So while these parts may look sort of simple, when at the end of the day, when they go through this, the milling course has about 24 lessons. The turning course has about 28 lessons, and embodied in that, each of them have at least 12 to 14 programming activities. So when you get done with that, you then are able to walk on the floor with a value add.
Let me say.
Can I
Go
just
ahead.
add to that? In listening to employers, and then taking that, also thinking about then how does that translate into what's important for our juniors and seniors in high school? Employers need somebody to be job ready. They need somebody to be job ready. But they also understand that their shop is different than the guy's shop down the street. So they're wanting the FANUC certification, again, a 6-month waiting list over at FANUC America to do the same thing. And we've been working in connection with FANUC to put this program together. So they go through the certification program, they have the certificate, they show up to work on time, then it's that shop's job to get them ready for that particular work. But they'll have the basic foundation, the fundamentals to get that thing done.
Well, let me say that as someone who's been on this board since we started talking about this, I believe in this.
Yeah.
And as someone who works in the manufacturing industry, I know you could walk in and get a job at a lot of places knowing what you're going to learn in these courses here. I'm asking the question because there's, I think, people that sit at home and think they know and think we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, well, I think some of it is, when you hear 40 hours, does that mean, wow, that seems short if people are going to college for different, well, you're going for different reasons.
Right.
You're going for different reasons. And the industry has said, and companies have said, we don't have 6 months for our people to go out and be trained. We need them trained in a week. We need them
Right.
trained in 10 days.
Right.
So put it together. FANIC put it together for us. And I'll talk about this maybe a little bit later, but now that I'm on a roll, Mr. Gilbert, so I may just say it right now. You know, we've also been talking with the computer science industry about how do we take what's happening in computer science and what's happening in advanced manufacturing and work with them to create programs that, again, will benefit our juniors and seniors, which then benefits our middle school, which then benefits our elementary, because all of those things are seamlessly integrated into curriculum for science, technology, math, engineering, and you've got to be able to read to do all of that as well. So it all connects together.
As someone who, again, works in the industry and who's been involved in this, I think, I don't want to speak for you guys, but I'm going to a little bit, is that personally, I believed in this program from the beginning, because not every kid is going to walk out of there and go to a college, and it's been this board's, one of our main things is we can't just, as Al said 7 years ago when he got on the board, we can't just pat these kids on the back and say, all right, take a deep little piece of paper that says you have a high school diploma, never hear from them again.
Right.
We wanted to give them, not just our students, but residents and the community, everybody a chance to, you know.
The equation of 40-20-0 that Mr. Gilbertson showed a little while ago, 40 grand by 20 years old at zero debt. There are a lot of people who sign up for that.
Yeah.
That's a career pathway that someone is choosing to be a part of in an industry that is needing a lot more people at 40-20-0.
Yeah. I'd like to just add to that, piggyback that, Mr. Speck, and say 40 is a lot more than a lot of the breadwinners in this community that I grew up in bring in their front door themselves. So if my sons had the opportunity to make that at 20, I absolutely would encourage them.
You know, I walked into efficient engineering in June of 1980 out of COVEC, which is now OTEC, and you know, and I was in what was called GM FANIC at the time when it first started, I believe in 1982 over there in Auburn Hills, and I was like, robots and all this, and they've had their tough times, and I 100% believe in this program right here. And we're going to add courses, right? We're going to get some, you know, the actual robot programming, if we're not already. We're going to have CAD. There's just going to be so many opportunities where, you know, we're not just going to say, hey, you can go work at the Green Lantern and cook some pizza for a while, you know.
I'm just curious, since the inception of the program, how many students have gone through there so far?
Well, we started it out in December and promoted it to the adults first. So we had, and I think I put this up here, it's probably in the presentation, 42 total adults. Initially what happened is they applied for the program, and at that point in time, some of those companies I showed you the graphic of, we sat together, since at that point it was free, to just, you know, get us started and get our feet wet, if you will. And what happened at that point is our industry support folks wanted to join forces and screen them. Because if we're providing a course for free, we want to ensure they're drug-free, they don't have any criminal backgrounds, and they had some proficiency. We created a proficiency assessment. So really what happened was we ended up, we had our first introduction to machining practices group. I think there was around 10 that made the cut, if you will. Not one of them paid for the course because, as I said, it was free to get us started. And in that group, some of them faded, and maybe partially because they didn't pay for it, but then some of them, you know, made it through without problem. So then the next step was our first FANIC CNC certification course. We had 2 courses of them. 5 was the first group, and I think we had 3 the next group. So and of those 8 total that went through the CNC courses, all of them are in the certification, and 7 out of 8 of them are currently employed.
Well, what is the projection from students from the schools?
So, good question.
Through the courses?
And that's a great question, and Mr. Speck knows this firsthand, because we went down over a year ago to Ramtech, Ohio, which we're following that model. what they're doing is they're really pushing hard with the students, and they've got some great instructors. And in their case, they're benefiting from Honda, and Honda is sending their employees there, which has been a revenue generator for the Ramtech, Ohio school district, if you will. But we needed to get our infrastructure in place prior to being able to promote it out to the high school. Currently, we have 3 Madison virtual school students that are consistently enrolled and doing very well. This Thursday, to Mr. Hernovich, Mr. Harwood's credit, and to Ms. Kagenbein's credit, we're going to have over, I think, all of the students, 300 and some students rolling through to learn about the CNC careers, the robotics careers, and our training and our course options will become available to them this Thursday. Of course, as a former high school principal, well, I guess this is just the seniors, I would know. Juniors too. So that being said, we're going to be promoting it out to them, and we'll see if they're interested. Hopefully they are. And then we've got a whole other group that we've started reaching out to, which is our largest group, which is the virtual school students. And you know, for another day, we could talk more about what we're planning on doing, but with Mr. Speck's approval, a very innovative approach is to take some of this program on the road to meet the locations of where some of our virtual school students go to their centers. And so we're gonna be very innovative in terms of how we deliver our instruction to them. And I'll be glad to update you to the superintendent about our numbers.
In fact, Mr. Harwood, our assistant principal, he's got some numbers.
Yeah, Mr. Kimball, I can give you a little bit more of an update. What we're looking to do is recalibrate the way we deliver math in this district at a high school level. And so we've already started that with our FANUC robotics program, where we put 2 years of students who've been certified in FANUC robotics. You see it paying off with our first robotics team and see the interest growing. We have what's called Project Lead the Way, which is an integrated STEM engineering program, which is a precursor to the robotics. But more to your point, what you're asking, for MAMC, what we're looking at next year is to completely revolutionize the way that we do math at the high school level. So it's going to be a 2-hour block, where it's going to be a combination of your basics, Algebra 1, geometry, recalibrating numbers, where you have stations where students are going to work on the brick and mortar book work, and then take what they learned and apply it to the machine in a 2-hour block. So we're expecting in a minimum of about 60 students per semester, probably north of that, depending upon once we take a look at what the availability is. And then that's going to be the floor. So we're going to be looking to grow it so it's consistent with our Michigan Merit curriculum, consistent with what we want to do at MAMC, consistent within our Project Lead the Way, STEM engineering, and then eventually grow to computer aided design as well.
So at 60th semester, that's roughly 120 per year is what you're projecting?
At the floor. So
I'm talking about students that go to the school now, including virtual. This may be a dumb question, but how many seniors and juniors do we have in the district right now?
About 120.
120 total?
Each class.
Each class.
About 100 classes.
So we're projecting 50% will go through this program?
Something like that.
We'll know more.
Because it sounds like what you told me is there's plenty of employers.
Yeah.
They just don't have employees.
Well, absolutely correct. So we'll know more Thursday. And honestly, as a former high school principal, you know, you have to promote the program, which we're going to do this Thursday. We're ready to do that. And then allow them to make a decision. Now, what I was going to add that it's kind of a unique situation that I'm thankful for. I had a couple companies contact me along with the workforce development director from the state of Michigan, and they're going to be bringing this Thursday 2 employers, New Metal Stamping and LOC or Lock Performance. And these are companies that are actually going to be present here. They really want our seniors, but they are going to be able to talk to all of our classes to talk about paying for a 2-year scholarship to Oakland Community College, to Baker College, and to Lawrence Tech. So they're going to be here Thursday as well, promoting entering into this career track and then promoting an opportunity for students to apply for scholarships.
If I could add one other thing, one of the things that's unique about MAMC as opposed to, let's say, OTEC, you get 2-3 spots per program. Sometimes only in the morning, sometimes only in the afternoon.
Let me stop you there. So are you saying there's a wait list at OTEC?
It depends on what the program is. OTEC
Well,
is an
let's talk
umbrella.
about this program.
So for
is there a
this,
wait list there for
but
this
to
program?
get to this point real quick, and I apologize for interrupting. If we have a student who transfers into the district as a junior, they move into the district as a senior. OTEC for most of the programs is a 2-year program. That means that anybody who comes in later than their sophomore year, they don't have the same opportunities. Even if they want to, even if they could get in the right conditions, if there's room for the program. What this allows us to do, if we're smart about it, and I have every expectation that we will be, is that it gives students to, as a senior or as a second semester junior, have the same type of opportunities, completely local, completely within our own FTE, to run within the constraints of the program we want to run.
Okay, just so I understand this, so if it's a 2-year program at OTEC, it's a much more involved certification, is it not?
It depends on what you're saying it is. OTEC is a menu. It's like going to a restaurant. You can order a
I'm
lot
just trying to
of
do a
things.
comparison of 2 years and 40 hours. I'm not saying one's better over the other necessarily.
I can jump in if you don't mind. But first of all, OTEC is excellent. Excellent for students who attend it. There's absolutely no question in my mind. I've met their principals. I work very closely with them at Oakland Schools. It's a marvelous program. It absolutely is. The drawback is you get limited seats. Because they have to share.
Well, that was one of my questions.
That's
is
really,
there in fact a wait list?
Yes, sir.
For this type of program?
That's correct. That is the drawback. Because quite frankly, if there were no limitations to seats, then you're right. It wouldn't. The emphasis that we're providing, wouldn't be as important. But remember, we are also focusing our energies in a centralized area of machining and CNC and in robotics, and we hit on it. But PLCs, programmable logic controller. And Alan Bradley is the powerhouse in that industry as well. And again, as I said initially, we have instructors with vast amounts of experience that, quite frankly, I'm not going to say they don't have that at Oakland Schools, but I feel very good. When I have these companies come in, they watch us teach, and then they offer these guys jobs when they're here, that reinforces to me that we're on the right page. But absolutely, the downside is you only have certain numbers of seats at Oakland Schools because they have to share that. I'm sorry.
Well, you're also, I just want to be clear to compare adult training to what a high school student in their time. So an adult's going to come in for 5 straight days and 8 hours a day. A high school student's going to have to spread that period out
that's
over.
what I'm trying to get clarification.
Yeah, and that's why it's the same program, but it's 2 different programs because of who it's geared toward and who it's designed for.
These are more specific, focused on, where if you go to OTEC, your brother, I went there with your brother. We learned over 2 years so many. I mean, if you get a certification in CNC or robot programming, that's what you're more focused on that job.
See, someone messed up my keychain. There's no ring for my key ring.
We can do that. We have a mill for that.
Yeah. So, Mr. Gilbertson, I mean, when you guys presented this to us, I'm real familiar with the CNC. I got a family member that owns a company. I'm sure you talked to him already. Brother-in-law, the company, the CNC company.
We got to try again.
We have some graduates, the Pilarski family, who's got a really big CNC company. Mr. Sparks has got a really big CNC. We're into something big. This is probably going to take, it's not going to happen on a snap of a finger. It's going to take about 3 or 4 years. It's my opinion. But we are into something big. When that 3 or 4 years is done, I think we're going to be bulging.
Well, yeah, I think when we originally started talking about this, we wanted to fill this building with MAMC.
Yeah.
But
eventually we will.
Somebody went and, some people, a small group of people went and shot down, BS'd around about the bond, and we didn't get the new school, so we couldn't use this. And we're just doing what we can for.
Overall, in a longer range plan of the amount of kids, we're 4 months in. We're 4 months in. It's the pilot stage, but our goal, as we've talked about it, not always to put hard numbers out there, but I'll put some numbers out there. By the end of 2018, I want us to see 500 people to have been able to go through these doors, whether it's high school students or adult workforce, and with some emphasis that both the governor and the House side at the state up at Lansing have put on career tech facilities like ours to being able to go out and get more equipment and start to promote their programs and working again with workforce development. It was I think it was a real coup that we were able to get early on in workforce development in Michigan Works to work with them both at the local level and at the state. They know who we are. Again, people have come down, they've sent people to see some of the things that we're doing, again, at an early stage where we're just operating this program at a real lean model. But it's starting to see sort of benefits. Mr. Abdulahad, you're going to have how many kids who are going to start to do some things?
10 8th graders.
Yeah, we're going to have 10 8th graders who are going to start to be introduced. Mr. Gilbertson mentioned right now we already have 30 source kids in our virtual program who are being introduced to robotics, not necessarily in MAMC, but introduced to robotics here in our facility. And to have this program put out in front of those almost 800 kids is a huge, huge opportunity for both, again, secondary students as well as adult workforce.
Let me just say this, and I don't want to keep interrupting your presentation. When we first had the discussion about this, I was excited and skeptical about it. And I met with Jeff, who owns JENN. I met with Jimmy Remo. Huge manufacturing companies both. And they both said, you are way out ahead of this. So when we first started this program, the idea was not just for Madison schools,
Right.
but for the Madison community and beyond, and to offer people opportunity that we don't get a whole lot of down here on the south side of Madison Heights. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I grew up here, I've been here my whole life, and I'm still here. So to offer opportunity outside of this was our goal. It has been our goal. And I feel like I'm defending something that I not need to defend. Because it makes no sense whatsoever to be able to open doors and offer opportunities to not only our students, but our community and beyond, to our veterans and the people who need this type of opportunity. I don't feel like I need to defend that. So I won't any further.
Yeah, MAMC 100% aligns to our curriculum and to wanting to grow our curriculum, again, in math and science and technology, taking that down to the middle school level, taking it down to the elementary school level. This isn't just a silo off in one part of the building. It's all interconnected.
But I will also say that we first sat down and had this discussion. We had a 5-year startup window that we had discussed. We've been discussing this throughout the process, and we're well ahead of our 5-year startup window. So I'm just going to allow this to flourish into what I know is going to be a successful program for not only our Madison kids, but our community.
And success isn't only measured in dollars.
Agreed.
Right? We don't have to make millions of dollars and everything. We need to help people. We're a school. We're schools. We educate people, right?
Correct.
Last closing remark that I think is significant. We are applying for a mechatronics state-approved program, and I think this is important quickly to just hit on. Even tonight I had a correspondence with the state and a local open schools piece. What happens when we have a state-approved program is we receive additional funds from the state of Michigan. So that is pending, and I expect us to get that outcome hopefully here in the next couple of weeks. So that's another benefit for a school district when you have your own state-approved program. In this case, it will be called mechatronics. And the other portion that does not appear will be ready for this coming fall, although we still could use it through open schools, is a early middle college program where students who decide to stick around another year for a 5th year, and then what happens in that particular case for a program like a state-approved mechatronics program, the students could then get a 2-year college degree for free. And again, in this case, a mechatronics program, and the district receives full FTE funding in that 5th year. So that's a very valuable win-win for the student and, of course, for the school district. There is an agreement that superintendent has signed on with Oakland Schools and Oakland Community College, and we could leverage that. But I think we're a little bit, we need to progress a little bit further to get there. And I think it's safe to say, even though we're here in a public forum, that there is a discussion about potentially having this location as a Oakland Community College satellite campus for mechatronics and for CNC and robotics. I think we're a little ways off of that to happen, but that absolutely is a goal. If there's any questions for me, I would be happy to answer any more you have, or I know our instructors are always here and available to answer questions. And we have monthly open houses now. We started that routine. Our next one's April 24th, 25th. But I think next week we have a town hall next Monday, if I'm not mistaken. So please come by, and I know you've been there already, some of you. We'd love to see you and answer any questions and gain your support and learn some more from you. Thank you.
Stay resilient, guys. You got a good team here. It's going to happen. It's just going to take some time.
I just want to tell you that from the minute we sat in that first shop over there with some people to see if there was any interest whatsoever in that sweat-filled shop, that it was absolutely nothing to where we're at now. Congratulations.
Good job.
Tremendous job. Tremendous job.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
We'll start walking. Let's go.
Anything else, anybody? Before we move into the Board of Education action items? We'll do the minutes separate because we had a couple of meetings where a couple of people were there and not there. So at first, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the regular Board of Education meeting for Monday, March 6, 2017. Could I get a motion to approve the minutes, please?
Mr. President.
Mr. Moore.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Thank you. And support?
I'll support.
Mr. Pittman, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. And I would ask that it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the special meeting minutes for Monday, March 28, 2017. As presented, could I please get a motion to approve those minutes, please?
I will make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Honer, and support, please.
Support.
Thank you, Ms. Cole. Any discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You abstain?
I wasn't there.
We'll move on to the Human Resources, non-renewal of administrator contract. I believe we had a discussion about this at the last meeting. This is to tighten up the language and to finalize.
Yep, we did that.
So it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the non-renewal of Minimal Wad contract and terminate his employment effective June 30, 2017. A motion to non-renew Mr. Wad, please.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Horner, thank you. And support?
I'll support.
Mr. Pittman, thank you. In discussion? All necessary changes have been made in language.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
On to the personnel report. It is recommended that the Board of Education accepts the personnel report for Madison District Public Schools as it is presented. Does everyone have a copy first? It hasn't been reviewed. Can I get a motion to approve as presented?
Mr. President.
Mr. Moore?
I'd like to make a motion we approve the personnel list as presented to the board.
Thank you, and support, please.
I'll support it.
Mr. Horner, thank you. In discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
We'll move to the business office. Apologize, I think my brain's still in vacation mode. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the check registry in the amount of $1,987,411.40. That's $1,987,411.40. Can I get a motion to approve the check registry, please?
Mr. President.
Mr. Marr.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Support, please.
I'll support it.
Mr. Owner, thank you. On discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstaining.
You abstain? Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. That concludes the regular Board of Education agenda, working agenda. We can move right to board members' open table discussion. Anything anyone would like to put on the table tonight to discuss?
Yeah, Mr. President.
Mr. Martin, floor.
I think that when board members want to get information, as we always have done, they either need to go to the secretary, the treasurer, or the president direct. If I ever have an issue when I want some information, I don't never go to Michelle or to Randy and say, hey, stop what you're doing and give me this, information. I usually call Al, Mick. I was the treasurer at one time, so then when I was the treasurer, I would come up to you, hey, what's going on? I know that Mr. Speck and Mrs. Sherman are really busy people, and it's hard to pull you guys away at a whim of a dime. Hey, I want this information. I think we work together as a board, so I mean, if one person's getting information, I think we all should get it. I just think we need to address this.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. I appreciate the comments. I would agree with you on the things that you said. First of all, I would ask the board respectfully that any information garnered, perhaps you can speak with another board member first who may have that information on hand. If not, the direct connection would be Mr. Speck. And I would ask that you take into consideration his job duties as he's performing them throughout the day. And so at another meeting, we can discuss the avenues and trafficking, how to handle these types of things. And I would also like to remind the board that if you need information, please be kind enough to share the information that you're attaining, because there may be more than one question involved, or there may be more than one statement involved. We function as a board, not as individuals. So as individuals, we garner as much power as the carpeting. But as a board, we garner the entire power that's needed to run this district successfully, so I would just ask you all to keep that in mind. Anyone else?
Hey, Mr. President?
Mr. Pittman?
Will we be having any more meetings before the carnival? Or will there be any carnival-specific meetings, or if they are necessary?
I would absolutely love to schedule a carnival meeting. There's an awful lot of work that goes into this. I know that some of you know and appreciate that. I started working on the carnival at 8 a.m. this morning after getting home from a long road trip last night. And so I will need all your support, and I would like to reach out to every one of you and keep you informed. So I would absolutely like to schedule some type of meeting, carnival specific if possible.
I mean, why don't I throw out some dates, the next, like maybe tonight, I'll email out some dates.
Okay.
And see what works with everybody's schedule.
We could possibly piggyback that next meeting.
The town hall.
The town hall as to, to avoid dragging this out to almost carnival day. So.
Yeah, so let's do that on the 17th. That would be next Monday night. Just going to do an open town hall meeting. We'll probably do it over in the Mamsie room. We'll promote that to the community, talk about why we're doing what we're doing, only that, but maybe district-wide. And we can either hang around afterwards and do it, or do it a little bit before.
Whatever's
some schedules. I know
whatever's good for
7 may be
schedule.
tough for you. 6 may be tough for you.
6 would be home. I mean, I'm usually home about 10 to 6 or 6, so.
Okay.
It varies, but.
Let me send something out, and you guys can respond back about whether or not it works or not.
And before we leave tonight, we still have to do board comments. We're not quite done. But I just want to remind the board members that there's some signs already put together over there. And I know Mr. Honer has taken on the responsibility of placing a ton of those signs himself. So I would like to ease some of his burden and us all pitch in a little bit. We also have signs that hang in businesses. That would be tremendous if we could get people to visit your local establishments and hang some signs as well. And reach out and see if our local businesses and community want to be involved. So we'll discuss that more in more detail at the next meeting. Anything else? Committee reports. Mr. Holder.
Youth assistance meeting is this coming Wednesday. I've actually set up a meeting with Madison Elementary PTA where youth assistance is trying to engage more people in our organization, and the PTA seems to be the place to start. So that'll be next Tuesday. Other than that, they're having trouble getting volunteers. Everything they do is just kind of falling apart. So,
anything new on the Parks and Rec front?
Parks and Rec. The last meeting, we discussed, the city council kicked the list to us about all the different options we had, what we wanted to do as far as Parks and Recs. And there was 10 different items, and they asked us to put it in an order as to what was most important. And the city of Madison Heights is just like everybody else. They don't have the money to do stuff. But the whole thing about the splash pad from a year ago, and how everybody wants the splash pad and whatever, well, they kicked it to Parks and Rec, and that came out as number 10 on the priority list, because it was anywhere from $180,000 to $400,000, and for something you can use 3 months. So they did a few things, but they only had $10,000 to do anything. So it's not like they had a lot of money to do a lot. So
thank you. Community Roundtable, Mr. Speck. Historian, Mr. Pitt.
I have nothing.
I have nothing for Oakland Schools, so we can move directly into board comments. And we can kick that off with, what, Kate, our newest member.
I'd like to congratulate all the Student of the Month, the kids there, and for the people that put on for the Arts Fest. It was actually really interesting. It was my first time ever attending one, so I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Mr. Mark.
Congratulations to the Students of the Month, especially the 3 high school girls. Very, very talented. Very proud and happy that they're Eagles. Because they're going somewhere, especially the artists. Really impressive. Thank you for the presentation. Please, we know this is going to take some time. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day. We're in infancy. We've got to crawl before you walk. We'll get there. So thanks everybody else for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball.
Congratulations to the Students of the Month, basically.
Ms. Cole.
You guys, thank you for the presentation. My nephew's in the program, so Sean Martin. So just seeing his excitement is good for me, because he's not really excited about a whole lot of things that have anything to do with school. So, but he's excited about some of the concepts that he's learning in the program, so that's really good. Congratulations to the Students of the Month. Thank you to Mayor Hartwell for coming in and sharing all of your ideas. That's really cool. Carnival, I'm really excited about that. And that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Horn.
Back when we started the MAMSI and everything else, I think our wording was that we want, I'm so sick and tired of everybody wants to be college ready. We discussed that our district, that's not the case. A lot of people aren't going to be college ready. We want them to make them life ready. So this MAMSI, that's exactly what we're trying to do. And once, like Al said, trying to defend this program it's unbelievable that people just don't get it. I don't know if they don't get it or they don't want to get it or what, but you guys are doing a great job. Just chin up.
Ms. Pittman.
All right, I'd like to start with thanking Mr. Hartwell for recognizing that, I think we probably kick-started all that, getting a little bit of something moving down south of 11 Mile Road, not even Gardenia, but I'd like to thank him for recognizing that that needed to happen and coming in here and speaking to us tonight. I'd like to thank Mr. Speck and the faculty. The summer reading program, I think, is going to be a few years ago I said, and I don't know how all that Common Core and whatever all that stuff works, but I wanted every student to be able to read when they left 3rd grade, because I've always thought that you learn to read kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, but then you read to learn after that. You need to know how to read, to do math, to do science, to do anything. So hopefully this summer reading program helps, some kids understand that they need to know how to read at that age. And I'd also like to thank these gentlemen for coming in here tonight. And, I think we all support you. I do. And we thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin. And myself, I just want to also piggyback, congratulate the students of the month. Clarinet player, wow. I would never in my lifetime have enough guts to do something like that. So, God bless her. And the artist, every one of our students of the month, including little Zach, I've known him since he was a child and he was kind of raised in our household. So, very, very excited for him as well. So, presentation tonight, knocked it out of the park. So happy you guys were here. Disappointed that more community members didn't come out. And hopefully they will next Monday at the open house and have the opportunity to speak to people and get some questions answered. I think you're doing a tremendous job, and we've discussed this in the past. I was cautiously excited in the beginning, and I'm very excited at this point, especially after speaking to some people in the industry who tell us that's brilliant. So, congratulations. I think you're doing a tremendous job, and I appreciate you.
I just want to say, I want to thank you guys for this. These are amazing. Great job.
And I want to thank all our staff, all our administration. It's a tremendous job. Mr. Speck, I think that I know that you're probably, not even probably, I know you're the best superintendent in the state of Michigan. And you're in the best school district.
Best one in this building, anyway.
Best one in this building.
So I appreciate you, as this board does, and some of the nonsense that you have to deal with on a daily basis. And some of the
life suckers.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember the terminology, the old school front or something along those lines, who think that it's impossible for any person to multitask and be successful at it. So I congratulate you on that. And I thank you for your patience and your kindness to this community, this board, and this school district. Because it means an awful lot to our success. And our success was noted tonight by the mayor of Madison Heights, who not only noted that the city of Madison Heights has taken recognition, but outside of our small city has taken recognition, all the way to Lansing, and we're not stopping. We don't have time to stop. So the naysayers and the people who want to post on Facebook, and they want to talk, and they want to talk about coming out here to these board meetings, and they're going to do this, and they're going to do that, and blah, 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 blah. Either, as my dad told me when I was a child, son, you got to put up or you got to shut up. So, I mean, the board meetings are open. Please come on out, voice your opinions, rant, rave, do whatever it is that you need to do to get things off your chest, and at least try and have a civil conversation. I look forward to the carnival. It's been a lot of work. I'll look forward to it being over, as I did last year. So I look forward to all of you attending and the community attending, and I thank every single one of you for allowing us to sit here and work for you. So thank you very much. Can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
Mr. President?
Mr. Pitton.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
And support?
Support.
And discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Thank you.